Welcome to the Hear and Heard podcast. I am your podcast host, Emily. I want this to be a safe space for all women to tell their stories, grieve the hard parts, and celebrate themselves. Thank you for being here.
Hi, welcome to the Hear and Heard podcast. I'm sitting with Taylor. I actually graduated high school with her forever, like 10 years ago. Not actually forever, but it feels like it. Feels like a long time ago. And she has 2 kiddos now. She lives locally, actually really kind of close to me.
Yep, Piedmont area.
And we are here to talk about your birth.
I'm so honored to be here.
I'm so excited.
For having me.
Yes.
I was talking to my husband and I said, besides writing in a journal about my experiences or, talking with another friend, I always wanted to sit down with him or even sit down by myself and talk about my experiences, because how cool is it to have something that you can look back on
And your kids.
and my kids can look back on, but I just never, you know how it goes. Like, you just never find the time to do it. And then all of a sudden years go by and
like little bits and pieces have gone away. And you're like, I don't want that.
I
to
know.
leave my brain.
I know.
So that's part of the whole reason why I started this,
Yeah.
is because I felt like so many of my friends wanted to tell their birth stories or wanted to talk about it. And they would say, I don't want to bug you, or, just like, I just want a platform for mothers to talk about it.
Yes.
Because it's so wonderful.
No, I love this. And too, I'm like, now that you entered into that stage of life after someone else goes through it, I'm the first one who's texting all of these probably questions not even everyone wants to answer, but you just want to hear from others and you want to talk about your experience and compare and all of the things. So it's just really fun to be here.
I remember I was pregnant with my second, and we were at a mutual friend's wedding.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And we were just like barely chatting a little bit, and you had said something, and then both at the same time were like, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you come into motherhood, it really just all makes sense.
Yes.
You can connect on such a deeper level with other moms.
Yeah. It's just such a cool stage of life. And everything leading up to this and the experience of going through it is something that once you have, being able to talk about it is so special. So
Yes. Thank you for being here. Yes. Okay. So you have 2 girls.
Yes. My oldest, Annie, she turned 3 in August. So her birthday is August 8th of 2022.
Okay.
And then my youngest is Audrey, and she was born May 31st of 2024.
Okay.
So they're 22 months apart, both girls. And
any reason for the names, or was it just you loved them?
Yeah. So Anne is a family name. I'm Taylor Ann. It's on my mom's side, my dad's side, my husband's grandma. So Annie is a family name, and I always loved it. Her middle name is Eloise, which Eloise was my favorite story growing up. My mom used to read it to us. And so that just has a little meaning to me. And then my husband and I it's actually funny because sitting down, dreaming up their names, we had this long running list. And then all of a sudden we found out we were pregnant. We found out we were having a girl. And it's like, none of these names fit. Like, it was almost this feeling of like, wow, this is really happening. It's a girl. We're so excited. And we looked at our list and like, they're still amazing. They're great names. And they're on my list still.
And just did it.
But I'm like,
no, this is not right.
There's just, and if you've met her, but like, if you meet her, Annie is her
That's
name.
who she is.
Yeah. It's actually really sweet when we did name her that. I'm like, you know what? She'll probably be the only Annie in her class. It's kind of one of those names that it's not very unique, but it's just not very super common. Yeah. And she's in her first year of preschool, and there's another Annie. So I'm like, Annie is Annie F. And it's just funny because I just never thought she would have another Annie in her class. But and then we found out we were having another girl, which we were so excited about, especially because they're close in age, and I have a little sister. So I was ecstatic about having another girl. And either way, you just can't go wrong. Like,
no,
either way,
so excited.
You're so
Truly.
excited, right?
Yeah.
Like gender order and everything and the dynamic of your family. But like finding out Audrey was a girl, I feel like it really solidified this unit that we were going to have, these close sisters. And my husband is like the best girl dad in the whole world. It felt really amazing finding out that she was a girl. But also on the same time, like, okay, what if Audrey is our last baby and all the emotions that come with, what if I don't get to experience having a boy? And Derek going through those emotions too. So that's like a whole nother topic. Audrey was the only other girl name that Derek and I agreed on. Okay. We just wanted a classic, timeless female name. So yeah. So sweet. Yeah. And that's actually my mom's godmother's name. So just tying back
that's
to
a
just
sweet
a lot
connection.
of
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Tell me about getting pregnant and the early stage of pregnancy with your first Danny.
Yes. So I have a little sister. I also have a little brother, and he's 7 years younger than me. So
I didn't know that.
yes. He was born right before I went into first grade, and I'll never forget. I brought him in for show and tell. He was my little show and tell, just my little baby brother. And I've always had that maternal, can't wait to have babies feeling. Yeah. And Derek and I got married in 2021, and we had always kind of dreamed about our family and talked about, after we get married, what's the plan and what's going to be our next step. And I knew we wanted to start a family, God willing, right away. Yeah. And luckily enough, we got married in September of 2021 and found out we were pregnant with Annie in November. So yeah, I'll never forget it. It was COVID, and we were living in a little 1-bedroom apartment in Edina. Oh, and no way! I had been, and this is another thing too, like I had been tracking my cycle, and we were like, if it happens, it happens. Yeah. And I'm a very regular wake up with my period woman. Yeah. And I woke up that morning and I didn't have it. And I remember just being like, I had the test ready to go. Yeah. And I did go through, and I feel so fortunate. That's another thing too, that like there's just no way to express like how fortunate I feel that first time was easy for us. Yeah, and like absolutely. My heart goes out to all people that have struggled or are struggling. And I did the first cycle that we tried, I did not get pregnant. And I was like, you know what? This is okay. Like, it's going to happen when it happens. Yeah. And I woke up. Derek was still sleeping. I took the test. It was sitting in the bathroom, and I sat on the couch, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm either going to feel that kind of letdown, disappointment feeling, but remind myself it's okay, or my whole life is going to change in 3 minutes. Yeah. And Derek woke up, and he actually grabbed the test, and he looked at it first. Okay. So like I saw his face before I saw the test, and his face was like very much, this is happening. And that moment was November 21st, I think. So it was the week of Thanksgiving, and it was so much fun because I am like, all right, pack up. Like, we got to go to Duluth. We got to go tell everybody. Tell everyone. Yeah. I was 2 seconds pregnant, but we're so close with both of our families that I could not wait. You just wanted to share, right? Yeah. I seriously was FaceTiming my sister while we were in the car on the way to Duluth, because I literally could not wait the 2.5 hours just to tell them. So very fortunately, my experience getting pregnant with Annie was very easy. And I just also didn't have at the time a lot of friends that were going through it with me. Right. So that was a little bit tricky because we had just gotten married. All of our friends were in the stages of getting engaged or planning their weddings. And now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, our whole life is about to change and we're starting a family. So that came with a lot of decisions of like, are we going to stay in the cities? Are we going to move back? Yeah. Now we have someone else to think about other than ourselves. So that was our first experience with getting pregnant with Annie. Actually, this is funny because we got married in September. We picked up and purchased our first dog. So she's our firstborn. Her name is Sunny. In October, found out we were pregnant with Annie in November. Moved back to Duluth in February. Had Annie in August. So like a couple busy handful. People joke, they're like, "Did you ever like think about slowing down?" And at the time we weren't. We were like, "Bring it on!" And I kind of like love living in the chaos of it all. Yeah. But it was very. honestly, it hasn't stopped being chaotic since. But yeah, that was our first experience, and I'll truly like never forget that day. It was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And telling our family it was really cool, and everyone was so excited. So
That's so wonderful to be able to tell
yeah.
right away and just like exploding with
Yeah,
joy.
you know, that was my thought process, was no matter what happens, that this is we're all so close as a family, and all my friends and I are so close that no matter what happens, I need them, and I could not tell them.
Right.
And so I wanted to go through every step of it with all of them.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't regret that decision. We did that the same for Audrey too, but it's also funny because I found out so early on that I was pregnant, basically 4 weeks. So it did feel like a long time that some of us knew. Being pregnant from November to August.
Yeah.
It's a long time for
Yeah.
people to know that. But it was also right around the holidays. So people kind of were, yeah. And also like being around family, I was like, oh, what's going on, Taylor? I was like, get me out of here. Everything stinks. Everything does not feel good, but yeah.
Oh no. Okay, so tell me about pregnancy and kind of preparing for birth. How did that go for you?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I had a few friends that had gone through it before. So I really did lean on them as a great source.
Yeah.
I also leaned on, and this sounds silly, but like blogs on Pinterest.
Yeah, no,
and
that's not silly at all.
TikToks. And I know some of that, like TikTok University, don't take everything. Like, don't learn everything from TikTok University. But I really did lean on the people that I had gone through it right before me, or that were going through it. And especially I started my care in the cities and then moved to Duluth.
Okay.
So my first appointments were in the cities, and then I had looked for recommendations for OB/GYNs in Duluth. And I started seeing Brant Griffith.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Who is
highly, highly recommended.
amazing.
Yes. Yeah.
So we moved to Duluth. I was about halfway through.
Okay.
So then getting to know a new OB and kind of going through all of that. And it was back when St. Mary's was still the hospital.
Yes.
The new hospital hadn't
That's
been built yet.
Yep.
So we gave birth at St. Mary's. But I read a lot of books. I leaned on Derek a lot. Like, we had a lot of conversations about, how we wanted it to look,
Yeah.
how I was feeling. And when I say how we wanted it to look, he was just very supportive of like what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I was very careful while I was pregnant. I was like, is it okay to drink a Diet Coke? I was Googling everything. And that's why another reason why I love Dr. Brent Griffith is because she was so good for me to like calm my anxiousness.
Yeah.
All my silly questions weren't silly to her. They were like, absolutely, you can take a bath. Like, it shouldn't be scorching hot, but because at the time it's just, you're just so, you feel fragile.
You're first.
Right.
And like this little tiny thing is in here. And I'm responsible for her.
Yes.
And I feel like there is a lot of misinformation and rumors out there, and you want somebody to trust to actually give you a yes or no.
Yeah.
Before you do anything. Truly.
Yep. I was following I'm like a huge rule follower. I follow all the rules. And I really did take the advice from Dr. Brent Griffith, like the things that she had recommended or anything that she had led me through, I was really confident in. So that felt really good as like a provider that I trusted and who made me feel really good. So I leaned on a lot of friends and just prepared myself the best way that I could for really the unknown.
Yeah.
Because my expectations were, you can only have so many expectations.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Like, expectations are wonderful, but reality is just that they're not always going to be exactly. And I think that's true too. After you've given birth, like, it's okay to lower your expectations a little bit.
Yeah.
Because wherever you're going to meet is going to be great.
Okay, you were anxious.
Yes.
Did that kind of ebb and flow?
Yep.
Throughout things?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like too, the anxiety would settle when I would just remind myself, like, we're going to take this day by day and we're going to take this step by step.
Yeah.
Like, I have to get to my next appointment, and at that appointment, we're going to do this. So, like, why would I be worrying about X, Y, and Z until I just get through this, like, next step?
That makes sense.
And there's a lot of anxiety and intrusive thoughts and everything that just come without you even asking for them. And that's scary. Those are things that, you know, when you're up at night and you're like, there's going to be another human that I'm responsible for. It's like, I never doubted myself or my husband or anyone that was going to be taking care of this child.
Yeah.
It was just that I couldn't even help the fact that these thoughts were coming in my brain, and, you know, all the hormones and everything that was going on. And so, yes, the anxiety did ebb and flow. The closer I got to her coming, I felt really grounded. I felt like,
oh, good. Okay.
I was able to work through the anxiousness.
Yeah.
And it might have been the fact that I was just so pregnant, and it was August, and I had gone through
And
the
you
whole
were
summer. And I
hot.
was
Yes.
like, my mom said, you'll get to the point that by the very end, all those things that will just go away a little bit, and they'll calm down, and you'll be ready.
Yeah.
And I definitely felt that. I did listen to a lot of meditations prior to my delivery. I would go through Starbucks with my labor delivery meditations on my listening in my car. There was something therapeutic about it. It kind of pumped me up a little bit, just doing my normal day-to-day things, but listening to
a meditation.
Yeah. It was a meditation, and some of them are very much like anthems of "you got this," empowerment.
That is
And
so cool.
so I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm at Target. I'm like listening to my headphones, super excited. So yeah, the anxiety definitely did subside, and I got to a point where I'm like, all right, just like I've done this like step by step through this whole thing, I'm gonna get to this delivery, and I'm gonna take it step by step, because I don't know what's going to happen in 10 minutes, so let's just take it 1 minute at a time. And I do think that really helped.
Good.
Yeah.
So did you have like a birth plan? Did you kind of have in your mind what you wanted birth to look like?
Yes. So I had, you know, prior to being pregnant, I think I had not necessarily a plan in mind, but I had been like, oh, this is a wonderful story. Just that was my experience, hearing stories.
Yeah.
And, you know, YouTube is still such a big thing, but like all of the people that I followed along with on YouTube who would say their birth stories, like those were my favorite things to listen to. So I'm like, that sounds wonderful. And like took bits and pieces of things that I thought sounded lovely. And then I got pregnant, and I'm like, you know what? With all of the anxiousness that I had, I was like, I was very confident that I wanted to be in a hospital. I made the decision to be at Essentia for the reason of if there were anything that the NICU needed to do or she needed to stay there, I wanted to be at the same hospital with her. So like felt confident in the decisions that I made leading up. And then as far as like pain management and all of that, I had decided that I was just going to go into it open-minded and make decisions as I went. And give myself the grace to make those decisions and not let anyone else's like story, journey, anything like impact the one that I wanted. So I do not have any regrets about the decisions that I made, like as far as my birth plan. And when I got to the hospital too, they're like, what's your birth plan? And I was like, you know what? And I think that a lot of people may say this because I feel like this is advice that you hear a lot. Like, I really want a healthy baby and I want to be okay too. So let's have this baby. And my birth plan is to just
be healthy and safe.
Be healthy, be safe, and do this. And so that's how I went into it. And with both girls, that was the plan. And luckily, my plan worked in a way. Like there were definitely bumps in the road, but they're here. And
I feel like too, when you're anxious about things, it's kind of better to just kind of like let it just happen the way it's gonna happen. Because I feel like sometimes I get so amped up about like, I'm gonna do it this way. And then I think like the biggest thing for me is I wanted a positive birth experience. So if I have my mind so beyond set on something, and then it doesn't go my way,
Right.
or it's not exactly the way I pictured,
Yeah.
I did not want to feel like it was a negative or
that you
experience,
failed.
or that I
Because
failed.
there's no
Yes.
failure in any
Right.
of these
Right.
stories.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
there's no way to fail
Right.
at all. Every one of these stories is going to be so different. And like going
Absolutely.
into it, wanting, it's
Yeah, and it's just like, especially, you don't know how it's gonna happen and how it's
Yeah.
gonna feel. Even first to second,
Mhm.
like I went into my second fairly confident,
Yeah,
but it was still very different.
exactly. Yeah.
And you don't know how things are gonna go.
Yeah.
And it's more important to just have a healthy baby
Yeah.
and be safe yourself.
And two, like, when it's your first, ignorance is obviously bliss. Like,
Yes.
you just don't know exactly how things are going to go. And so I did have a few people that were due around the same time
Yeah.
as me. So, of course, I'm texting, calling, asking, like, oh, how did that feel? Or,
Yeah.
oh, what was that like? And
Yeah.
everyone's experience is just so
different.
different
Yeah.
that it's like, okay, the more I ask, the more knowledge. Like, I wasn't scared of anything at that point. I'm like, tell me everything.
Yeah.
Like, exactly how did that feel?
Yes.
Like, if you compare it to something and they're like, okay, first of all, there's nothing to compare it to.
Yes. Yeah.
But I wasn't scared at that point. I was just like ready, so excited to meet her.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay, so tell me about early labor.
Yes.
So did your water break?
Yes.
How did things get started? Where were you?
Yep. So I was due with Annie on July 31st.
Okay.
So I like, when you go into the OB
Yeah.
weekly, like I'm
Yes.
like, okay, my 40-week appointment is coming up pretty soon, and I'm still like really pregnant.
I'm ready for her to
I'm
be
like,
here.
she's head down, like she's low, I'm uncomfortable. But my mom was even saying to me, she's like, but you're still, I feel like it's not yet. And I was like, when you hear that from your mom, you just
You're
like, are you kidding me? I can't hear that from you right
Yep.
now. I'm gonna cry every 2 seconds. And my dad, my sweet dad, my sweet mom too, but my dad's treading lightly, like, how are you today? I'm like, yeah, still pregnant. Like, so emotional. My 40-week appointment was coming up and I was still very pregnant, but I was still very like active,
Yeah.
working, all of it. And I got into my 40-week appointment and Dr. Brent Griffith said, you're here, you're still here, she's still in there. Do you want to make a plan?
Yeah.
And when induction was on the table at that point and you're kind of going through pregnancy being like, I don't think I'm going to be induced
Yeah.
because the people around me like, oh,
Yes.
she went early or,
Yeah.
I had that. And also to all this, in the movies, they're like springing out of bed, their water break.
Yes. It's totally different reality.
I'm 26 years old thinking that I'm going to like be out and about and I'm going to have this huge
rush
water
of
break.
water
Not saying that
yes.
doesn't happen,
Yeah.
but I just really had it in my head that I was going to get the surprise of my life, which I would love to have someday, but
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
Yeah.
So Brand Griffith said, she's not here yet. Let's talk about the next steps.
Yeah.
So we set an induction date to be starting on August 6th. So
Okay.
it was just around the 41-week point.
Yeah.
And she had said, I would like you to come in on Saturday night
Mhm.
of August 6th
Yeah.
and get a Foley bulb.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, cool, sign me up. At that point,
Yes.
I'm like, I get to go in for a Foley bulb. Like, I'm like, okay, just one more thing,
Yeah.
one more step closer.
Yeah.
And this is something too, I wish I would have done a little bit more research on. I just didn't know what to expect for that.
Yeah.
And maybe I should have asked more questions or prepared myself a little bit more. Maybe
Yeah.
it was better that I hadn't prepared myself.
Yeah.
But I walked into the hospital. I had like maternity leggings on, everything.
Yeah.
The OB who was working at the time
Yeah.
had gotten called into a C-section. So I'm laying there, don't really know what to expect. The OB finally comes in. He had been there for a couple hours now waiting for it to start or for the insertion. And it's like 9 p.m. at this point.
Mhm.
I get the Foley. I had a Cook's catheter placed with Annie and it was extremely painful.
The catheter or the Foley or both?
So and also I'm not a professional at talking about medical terms.
Oh, that's fine.
So I couldn't be saying something and then all of a sudden I'm like, I take it back. So it's called a Foley bulb, but I got a Cook's version of it. So there's like multiple versions of a Foley bulb, I believe, or like maybe 2 or just different brands.
Okay.
But basically what needed to happen with my cervix was that they needed to use a Cook's. And I've just heard multiple things. Like some women have amazing experiences with it and they're like, oh, I didn't feel a thing. And it really helped me.
Yeah.
And I just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I get it inserted and I am laying there like, I think I need you to admit me tonight because that hurt so bad that I don't even know if I'm going to be able to leave the hospital with the pain that I'm feeling right now. And so at that point, I had not been dilated at all. So I was approaching 41 weeks. I was not dilated at all. I was like 90% effaced, but not dilated. And here I am at home, like trying to do all the things that are probably maybe helpful, but not helpful, but I'm trying, you know, I'm like,
you're desperate.
I'm desperate.
Yeah.
It's 90 degrees outside and I'm on the curb. I'm doing everything. So it was a no-brainer that I was going to just like take the next steps. And for me, at least, that was my decision to proceed with the induction. So I finally catch my breath a little bit and they send me home, and that pain that night was like pretty horrible. I remember getting in the bath and then I was like, I need to get some sleep because ideally the bulb would have fallen out when I was dilated.
When you're dilated enough.
I got in bed that night. I thankfully was able to sleep for a little bit. And then this is kind of tradition in my home because, spoiler alert, I had 2 inductions. We'll get into that. But it's tradition in my house that Derek calls the hospital in the morning and he gets to surprise me that there's a bed for me. So I didn't get the surprise of like my water breaking or going into labor naturally like that. But Derek gets to come in and be like, surprise, there's a room. And honestly, it's really sweet because he'll set his alarm to wake up because you'll have to call in. They'll give you different times. But every time, luckily, I've gotten to call in like right away at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
And Derek walks in and he's like, we're having a baby. And I'm so glad he didn't say we're having a baby today because it didn't go. It wasn't that day.
It wasn't that day.
So I woke up on August 7th. Derek's like, we're doing this. It was really sweet. Like, it's when you're leaving your dog, which was really actually emotional for me.
It's hard.
It was very emotional.
Totally.
Like the next time I came home, I was gonna have a baby and our whole life is gonna be
totally different.
Yes. It's just, and then leaving your first to go have your second is a whole different story. Like that emotion is like nothing I could ever bottle up. But
truly,
I got to the hospital, I got all checked in, and my cervix, it didn't do anything for my cervix. So I basically had that procedure on Saturday night, got there starting from basically 0.
Okay.
Possibly a 1.
Yeah.
Because
I think the Foley is supposed to dilate you to 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can, they'll tell you if you go to the bathroom, like you can tug on it a little bit, see if it falls out itself.
Yeah.
There's no harm in it falling out. It's just that like now you've progressed.
Yeah.
So it was a little discouraging for me, honestly. And I had gone through that pain to have felt like I felt a little defeated. Like I almost felt like it was my body rejecting it. And then I felt like I did something wrong, which
absolutely not.
There's like
absolutely not.
No failures in this.
Yeah.
So, the nurses got me all hooked up, got put on Cytotec to start softening my cervix and get me ready, which you take the pill and then have to wait a number of hours. I believe it's like 4 hours or so before they can even start you on any dose of Pitocin or anything like that.
Okay.
So basically the first 4 hours I was like really just hanging out, like walking around as much as I could, like roaming the hallways. Derek and it was just 4 hours of anticipation of what's going to come next. And again, I told myself like, this is the first step. We're just going to focus on this.
Yeah.
And then, they got the Pitocin started and broke my water. Things started picking up and I was like, oh, okay. This is what this is going to feel like.
Yeah.
I was in it and the nurses were asking me at that point, what is my pain plan? Like, what do I want to look like?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good right now. I want to keep going and I don't want to slow anything down or I don't want, it to wear off.
Yeah.
I was still like maybe a 3 or a 4, but I'm like, I feel really good being able to move around. I was on a medicine ball. I had my IV drip like out in the hallway, just, moving as much as I could.
Yeah.
And finally it got to a point where it was maybe 2 in the morning or so, and I was maybe at a 4 or 5, but I hadn't progressed in a little while. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, well, if you have the plan to get the epidural,
Yeah.
why don't we? It was totally my choice. They weren't like pushy about it at all, but they're like, if you want it, it may be a good time for us to call it in now because it could take up to an hour.
Okay.
And then you could get some rest. Because once we really start going with this, and they had like increased the Pitocin at a certain point, then things are going to start moving. And if you're going to get it, let's call it.
Right.
So I called it in. It was like 2 in the morning. I had the most wonderful anesthesiologist. He was the nicest guy in the world. He made me feel so comfortable. I was a little bit nervous about what that was going to feel like,
right.
how that was going to go. And he was just the nicest guy. And so Derek left the room for that, came back.
Did Derek have to leave the room?
He did both times. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I actually, my little sister just gave birth and her husband got to stay. The anesthesiologist just had him put on a mask, but they had Derek leave both times, which
that's sad.
Yeah, it was a little bit sad.
Kind of probably a little scary.
Yeah, it was. And I mentioned this to a nurse. Everything's like really flooding back to me, but I don't know if it's because it just got dark outside, like really dark, and it's the middle of the night that things felt more scary. When it's daylight and it seems busier in the hospital and people are out and about and then you're not seeing your nurses as frequently and you're kind of in your head. Things felt a little bit more intense, and Derek left, but I kind of had that in the back of my mind. I was able to prepare that he wasn't going to be in there, and my nurse was so wonderful. So I held on to her really tight, got my epidural, was able to rest for a little while, and then couple hours into it, Annie was not responding very well to the Pitocin, and I had a rush of nurses come into my room.
Oh my God.
Put me on all fours, which was really scary because I was not able to do much with my body, and I didn't love that feeling of like
not being
I need to do something for her and I can't. So that was a lot. A lot of nurses, a lot of help in the room at that time, a lot of monitor sounds, and they were able to help Annie. They put an internal monitor on her and then decreased my Pitocin because she wasn't responding very well to it.
Okay.
The internal monitor went in perfectly. It was monitoring her great, and she was okay. And that was the most important thing to me. Yeah. They turned the Pitocin way down, and I kind of stayed around a 5 for a while. Like I remember between being 5 and being a 6 centimeters dilated, like that felt like a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting checked out and them saying, okay, you're at a 6 or you're at a 7. Like, we're really, it's a matter of time. And the hardest part, too, for me was that when I got there on the 7th, someone came in and was like, it's a great day for a birthday.
Yeah.
And that gets in your head a little bit, especially when and when you go in at 6 a.m.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I've got all day.
Yeah. Oh, I have all day. Like, her birthday will be, because you dream up about this stuff. You're like, what's your birthstone going to be? Just things that just keep you excited about all of it. So I'm like, okay. And it was my mom's birthday the day before. So I was like, oh, how cool. They'll be birthday buddies. And, which they still are. It's just 2 days apart. But, yeah. They're like, what a great day for a birthday. And that was just a little bit like as the hours and hours went by. And I knew it was going to be or I didn't actually know, but like
it could
go either way. Right. And I just really settled down and tried to just take things as they came.
Yeah.
But in the middle of the night, I woke up. There had been multiple shift changes, which was also hard because I felt like I would get a little bit attached to a certain nurse or a midwife that would come. And, there was one point where I had a midwife and she's like, my shift is done. And I'm really sorry that you might have gotten your hopes up that today was the day or that I would be here. Because if I would have been honest with you, like, it's going to be tomorrow and you're doing great. There's nothing you're doing wrong, but like, it's just not going to be today. And I think I would have given you that expectation.
Yeah.
And I just remember crying just because I felt so comfortable with her in the room.
Yeah.
And she's like, you are in such good hands. And so now we're in the next day, and it was probably like 11 a.m., 10 a.m.
Okay.
And Dr. Cassing was the OB at the time, and he came in to introduce himself. And he's like, we are having a baby today. And he was so confident. And obviously, like, I knew at that point, like, I was like, okay, it's 10 a.m. She's coming today. Like, it's August 8th. So 8/8. And I'm like, okay, I love this. She's going to be here today.
Energy.
But at that point, I was just so exhausted. Like, I just remembered just the life was just felt so drained out of me. Like, I had the shakes. I was nauseous. I just did not feel good.
I was not able to eat at all.
No. So prior to getting the epidural, they had advised me eat but eat something that you might feel comfortable in your belly if you don't feel good.
Yeah.
So chicken noodle soup, crackers, a smoothie. I had eaten very lightly.
Yeah.
And then after that epidural, which I hadn't had I had had for a while, but I had gotten it in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So really, it's mostly, actually, I believe, honestly, when I had started the Pitocin, I can't remember if it was like right when I started Pitocin that they told me to kind of cut it off a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was hungry. I was tired, but I wasn't really thinking about any of that. I was just,
you're drained, and you can't necessarily like, understand, like, I'm tired because I've been up so long and I'm hungry and this is why I'm feeling all this way. It's just like, they were just drained.
Yeah.
You were too tired almost to understand.
I remember looking out the window being like, whatever it takes. But Cassie came in, and I remember just feeling so tired and defeated. And he said, I looked at him and I was like, if this is going to be any sort of an urgent emergency situation, like, I want to know now.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel nervous and scared and nervous. And he's like, no, we got this. Like, you are so close. He came in about an hour later. I had a peanut ball. Like, we were moving around, doing as much as we could, obviously, with having an epidural. But we were moving around. He checks me, and he had a student with him at the time. And he checks me, and he looks at me. He goes, you're on the 10. Derek's crying. He's basically in tears because he can just see how exhausted I am.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at them and looking at him and going, I'm too tired.
Oh, yeah.
I can't do it. Like, I can't do it right now. I'm so exhausted because I really was up all night. I didn't really mention that part, but like between the monitor sounds and needing to be flipped and them coming in and changing me every so often and just feeling all of the feelings, I didn't really sleep very much. And he looked at me, and I will never forget this. He's like, pull the shades, turn off her monitor sounds. Baby's good. We'll monitor you out here. Turned all the lights off. He goes, you sleep for 45 more minutes, and when I come back, and he probably had other things to do, but at the time, like, I really needed to hear that from him. He's like, close your eyes and rest, because when I come back, we're having a baby. But I kind of loved that time frame because it really let me get into the right headspace and grounded.
It was just you and Derek.
It was just Derek and I. He could give my family updates. They knew.
Yeah.
He came back. He had a student with him, which was totally fine with me. She was very wonderful. And he's like, all right, we're doing this. He also, another thing that I loved that he did was he told me, when we get close to her coming out, there's going to be a rush of nurses in this room. It's not necessarily a bad thing at all. It's going to be a great thing. We need a lot of hands. And when you see all those nurses, it's okay. They're here for you and here for Annie. And that was a really cool thing too, because I don't know if I would have known that.
I would have had no idea.
Yeah. So I had a really wonderful nurse helping me too. When it came time, casting came in, everyone was ready. She was helping me. She was coaching me through. My epidural did not wear off. I had like very good pain management. And that was something that I was a little afraid of. Like when I had decided I wanted the pain management, I was like, I want it all the way through. Right. And I had a very good epidural, which I'm thankful for. And I did end up pushing for 2 hours. But I mean, the 2 hours compared to the multiple hours before, I was like, I'm at the end. Yeah. And I think casting really was what I needed at the end, because he almost gave me that assertiveness of, it was not a coaching. And I said that too with the nurse, but it was like you got this. It was a very powerful, like, we're doing this. I need you to, it was still gentle, obviously, but it was more empowerment and like, I had faster music playing at parts. Like, I just needed that pump up because I was so low on energy and I just needed her to be here. And she was born at 2:22 p.m. on 8/8/22. So like all my little angel numbers, and she was here. Yeah.
Holy.
And I got to have the most beautiful golden hour with her, and Derek got to have time with her, and it was COVID, so the hospital rules were a little bit different, which was tough for me because I had envisioned, like I mentioned, I'm so close with my family, like everyone come at the same time or just multiple people in one day, which we couldn't have, but that was okay. Everything happens. But and the visiting hours were restricted too. So she was born at 2:22. I got to have an hour with her, which I would never trade, and I never would have had anything different. But like I could have my mom at the very end for like a very glimpse of a moment before the visiting hours that day. And Derek's mom too. My dad was really sweet. He's like, this is my first grandbaby and I really want to be there the second she comes out, but like your mom and Derek's mom need to be there. So my dad came and Derek's dad came the next morning, but the moms came the first night. And so sweet. Like it was scary in moments. And actually I didn't mention this part, but like my IV came out right before I was about to get my epidural. So the nurses started preparing me. They're like, the anesthesiologist only has so much time. They want to make sure you're all prepared. We need to do our jobs first. And she's like, oh no. So that was a little scary too. Because I was like, how long has it been out? Yeah. Right. Because then I'm not getting what I need to be getting. But yeah, I would do every single part of it, all 36 hours of it, every single Foley bulb, 13 times per day to get Annie here. Right. It was so blissful, and something no one talks about either is, and people do talk about this, but like the next morning waking up feeling like it's Christmas over and over and over again, because those little babies, like, you've dreamt about who they would be for forever, your whole life. Yeah. And then I remember her coming out and looking at her, and it's like, she was this little stranger who I loved so much, but I had connected with her so much that I felt like she was a part of me for my whole life. Like, I just could not even believe that she was here, and so thankful that everything went the way that it went. And I have to talk about Audrey for a second, though. Like, is it okay if I talk about her? Roll right in. Second child baby. She'd be like, seriously, Mom, that was like 45 minutes of talking about Tony. It'll be quicker, and because it has to be quicker, but it was quicker, thankfully, for Audrey. And I was due with Audrey on May 27th. May 27th rolled around, and she still was not here. And Grant Griffith was like, she is just like her sister, and your body is doing its job. I had 2 membrane sweeps before having Audrey and like choosing another induction. Did you have membrane sweeps? I did. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I did try everything. I'm like, what else do I gotta do? I'm not trying to say that you didn't try. Yeah. I was curious. Yeah. I had them. I actually lost my mucus plug with Audrey. I didn't with Annie, but it didn't do much. Like, it almost is like, where is that? I was so excited that day. Yeah, I'm calling everyone like, I lost my mucus plug, and everyone's like, I died. Don't know. I'm like, my father-in-law does not even know that I lost my mucus plug. But I did, and that didn't send me into labor or anything. And I think anticipating for Audrey was a little bit different too, because I had Annie at home and making a plan for Annie, and oh, sorry. No, don't know. I feel like too, like soaking up the last bits of your firstborn. Yeah. And I ran into this TikTok sound right before I had Hazley. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of long, but it was something along the lines of now I have my second baby, and everyone says, let me take your older child so you can just bond with the baby. But that's my baby. You're taking my baby away. Yeah. And I just like, that just played over and over and over and over. I'm like, I am so excited for her to be here. Yeah. And to not be pregnant. Mm-hmm.
but you're my baby, and I don't want to leave you
Yeah.
at all.
That was a hard thing too for me postpartum with Audrey, is that I asked for help, and I'll recommend help. Like, don't be afraid to ask for help. But I didn't want Annie to not get to experience what we are going through in all those newborn stages.
Yeah.
And looking back, it would have been okay for her to have time away
Away.
from what the newborn
Yeah.
was like, because
Yeah.
we were so into newborn with Audrey. But I had 2 memory tapes. And then I obviously was not in labor. She's like, let's just get it on the calendar if you're comfortable with it. And the inductions are hard for me only for the sake of I love nothing more than letting their birthday be their birthday. It's hard to just like choose
Like,
those
this is what
things.
she's going to be born.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had Brett Griffith choose. I said, she's like, there's openings on this day, this day, this. And I was like, you know what? Put me in where you feel best.
Yeah.
And she didn't even choose like the first day available, which I'm like, okay, should I have said a different day? But we called. So at that point, we had something on the calendar, and I walked out of there like, I'm not going to need it. I'm not going to need it. And we had Annie all set up. Like, we knew my mom and dad were going to take Annie. And so that felt good to me. I'm such a planner. And so I feel like once those things were like, okay, it's on the calendar. Annie's got obviously the plan. My mom's going to whatever be here.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, we woke up on May 31st, and Derek went out and called Essentia. And he's like, we're going in. I'm surprised. But I was also emotional. Like, the night before putting Annie to bed was very, very, very emotional to me.
Yeah.
Just, it felt like the eve of a birthday every year that they change a new age. Like, those just like big changes feel
right.
so emotional. And this one more than any other one.
Yeah.
And she was such a baby still. Like, we found out we were pregnant with Audrey when Annie was only 13 months old.
So I think our
back,
timelines are pretty much the exact same, because my kids are 22 months.
Yes, that's why.
So it's just like, you're not even 2 years old yet.
Yes.
You're still baby.
You're such a baby.
Yeah.
And at the time, Audrey was very much planned. We had Annie, and it was so great. We had always known we wanted to start our family. So going from 0 to 1 wasn't that hard of a transition for us. We had moved to Duluth. Things had slowed down a little bit. We still had a lot of busy things like friends getting married and all that stuff, but we were like, let's do it. Like, I was very pregnant on a lot of weddings and bachelorette parties, and I was like, bring it on. I'm so excited. She got to come to so many things, concerts and all of it. I'm like, let's do it. So Audrey was very much planned, and when we found out that we were pregnant with her, I was obviously over the moon and excited. But looking back, that is a tight age gap. Yeah. And now that she is older than Annie was, I was like, oh my gosh. Because 1 to 2 is, and we can also talk about that, but yeah. So Derek was like, yay, we're going in. And my mom came to pick up Annie. So she was at home. My mom came to our house, picked Annie up. And I remember driving away feeling really emotional. Yeah. But I'm like, we're doing this. Yeah. And then sure enough, we walk into the hospital, and it's the brand new hospital at the time. So I have this gorgeous lake. Yes. And the joke was kind of that having a toddler at home, we felt like we were under the force house. Yeah. So beautiful in here. And we got all checked in, and the first thing the nurse says was, it's a beautiful day to have a baby. And it was May 31st. The sun was shining, and I was like, don't say that. I'm not prepared. By that point, I was more dilated than I was with Annie, which was really great news. I don't even think we did any dose of Cytotec for Audrey. Like, I was ready to just get started. Okay. They broke my water right away. Okay. I remember they're like, do you want to be walking around or whatever? I was like, yeah, I want to tour this floor. Like, I want to see all of these rooms in here. So I have my IV stuff, and I remember they broke my water, and I'm walking around the floor, and all of a sudden, like, I'm leaving this trail of water. I ran into someone I know, and I'm like,
this is motherhood.
And it was such a different experience than Annie too. Like, I just remember them breaking my water and like not really knowing what was going on or whatever, but I was just like so much more confident and willing to roll with even more willing to roll with the punches and knowing like what was going to come out of this experience. Yeah. So they got me started on it. I can't even remember, like, honestly, the timing. She looked at me. She's like, you are rocking this. We are really into it. How are you feeling? And I was like, I feel great. She's like, do you want me to call in the anesthesiologist? And I was like, honestly, I'm feeling really good right now. And I like to still be able to be mobile. I don't.
Right.
She's like, okay, well, it's up to you. And all of it was daytime, which was so nice for me. I started early.
Yeah.
I was laboring faster.
Yeah.
Derek is like the best support system in the whole world. But he's like, would you mind if I went to the cafeteria and got something? Really, I'll bring it right back. I was like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, I was very calm, FaceTiming with friends. Just like a completely different, more happier experience overall. Just
absolutely.
to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And then, sure enough, and this is so sad to me too, because it's almost like Annie's was a little bit more traumatic for me.
Yeah.
And the traumatic details are a little bit easier for some reason to remember.
Yeah.
Than the ones that were really smooth.
Like blissful.
But I'll never forget, the doctor came in. I was progressing faster and everything was great. And she came in and she said, all right, I'm going to give you a check. And it was Dr. Enderly.
Okay.
And she was wonderful. She also had a student with her. And she checked me and she was like, I think we're going to push. And she's like, we're going to do one practice push.
Yeah.
And then I'll go get my stuff. I'll get all these things.
Yeah.
And we will have this baby. And it was 8-something p.m. So I had started around 8 in the morning.
Okay.
It was now 8 p.m.
Okay.
And I gave one practice push and she's like, I'm not leaving this room. And I'm like, oh, this is like so different than what. And I just remember like the smile on Derek's face. And I felt so happy in that moment because I was minutes away and I didn't know really that I was minutes away at the time. But I was not hours away like I was with Annie. And that pushing experience, like, you know how tiring that is. Like that is a full, So I felt super energetic and she was out within, I want to say like 15 minutes tops. It was honestly like a couple pushes. And
that's so amazing.
She was born at 8:21 p.m. on May 31st. So it was wonderful. Like it was such a different experience from start to finish than it was with Annie.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade Annie's for anything.
Yeah.
And it made me go into Audrey's feeling a little bit more, it's okay if this happens.
Yeah.
It's okay if I, you know, feel this way. It's okay that this is what the shakes mean.
Yeah.
The shakes mean that the adrenaline's pumping and that I'm close and that my body's doing what it's supposed to do. And I wasn't scared of those things.
Right.
I was excited and I maybe was a little naive. So it was like always pleasant surprise, you know? And the beautiful thing about when Audrey was born, I was like looking at Annie, I was so in love with her, but I had so much time to connect with her while she was inside of me.
Yeah.
I felt like when pregnant with Audrey, the second I found out she was a girl and everything, I was like trying to envision her, thinking about Annie, but busy with Annie. Like the pregnancy went by faster and I was connecting with her, but it wasn't at the same, I didn't have the same time I didn't listen to a single meditation the second time around. There was no Starbucks meditation the second time around. Like it was,
I can understand
it was all Miss Rachel songs in the car and zero meditation.
Yeah.
But I remember Audrey coming out and looking at her and like the instant feeling of connection.
Yeah.
And not only like seeing her as her own, but seeing Annie and seeing Derek and seeing myself, like, and like there was truly no greater feeling than getting to meet her and feeling nervous about how I was ever going to have those same feelings. And I know people say that all the time. You're like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And then you're in the situation and you're like, I get it now, because how could my heart even fathom loving something
as much as I love my first.
Right.
And that it's just like,
and it's not even that you're doubting yourself at all. I'd never would want her to think that I didn't have all the love in the world. I just didn't have the time to necessarily comprehend how much better life was about to get. Yeah. And seeing her was like, she wasn't a stranger. Like she was meant to be in our family. And I instantly was like, yes, this is everything we've ever needed. I was just also so excited for Annie to meet her. So that got me through so many of like the not so pretty parts of the 12 hours. There were definitely parts that were not very great, but just picturing Annie meeting her got me like really excited.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nice to give birth at 8:21 p.m. because at that point Annie was safely sleeping, and I didn't have that feeling of
thinking about,
could I get ready really quick? Not get ready, but like, could I pull myself together enough for her to come that night? Like, there was no anxiousness about that. It was all, we called our families right away. Everyone knew Annie's name leading into her birth. So we're like, Annie's coming, Annie's coming.
Yeah.
No one knew Audrey's name. So that was kind of fun to have a surprise. We did find out both genders. Everyone knew we were having girls, but it was kind of fun to like announce her name. Have kept that secret to friends and family. And honestly, it was kind of truthfully because we were trying to narrow it down at the very end. So we were writing on the whiteboard, different combinations and stuff. And my mom and dad were like in bed laying next to Annie when she was here. And that was like, just, I'll never forget just the little conversations. And then being able to not sleep, but sleep that night. Yeah. Knowing that she could be here in the morning and that she would get to meet her the next day, and having that time with Audrey that she so much needed, obviously, before she met the chaos. So it was like it was similar in the sense of I had to be induced both times. I didn't have to be. I chose to be induced both times. I was past my due date both times, and I wouldn't trade seriously any of the experiences. I tell everybody like I would do them over and over again, and the best.
Anything to have your babies here.
Anything.
Yeah.
It's just like no other experience in the whole wide world. Like, I am so envious of people who are about to be going through that for the first time or the second time or the third time, whatever it is.
It's just such a wonderful feeling. I mean, truly.
And you get to the end and you're like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And then you forget the little things along the way. You're like, darn, I forgot that pain was a thing. Like, you just really do. You forget. And thankfully I had pretty smooth sailing pregnancies the whole time. Yeah. But I mean, I did definitely have uncomfortness and things that weren't so lovely about them, but I would truly choose to do them. I ran into one complication with Audrey. I actually retained part of my placenta with Audrey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so that was a little bit tricky because it's really hard to advocate for yourself when you're taking care of a newborn and a toddler.
Yeah.
I have the best support system in the whole world, but even taking 10 minutes to do anything feels like
a huge thing to accomplish.
Yeah. And I had bled for a while and stopped bleeding and then continued to bleed and thought that I had gotten my cycle back really quickly after.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember calling and saying, this is what's going on. And they said, do you have a fever? Are you, and asking me lots of questions, and no fever, nothing. They're like, you're okay to monitor yourself at home. And I was like, something feels off.
Feel right.
And that like gut instinct is so strong, and it's so hard to listen to sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
The mom gut instinct is so powerful, and your own gut instinct is so powerful and just tricky sometimes. But I said, my follow-up appointment wasn't even, it was past the 6-week mark, but I hadn't even been able to go in for my follow-up.
Okay.
I don't know why it had landed later than 6 weeks, but I'm like, I kind of feel like I should come in.
Yeah.
So sure enough, I came in and they had sent me down for an ultrasound and found part of my placenta and had to have an emergency surgery the next day.
Oh my land.
Yeah. Procedure. Not surgery, but procedure.
But still.
Holy God. So that was kind of tricky. Audrey was only 7.5 weeks old. So leaving her and going through that
and also to have gone through all that recovery and kind of feel like you're getting your footing and figuring it out, and then now you have to have another procedure and more recovery and balancing all that. That's so interesting. I wonder why. I mean, maybe it doesn't happen enough to have ultrasounds be routine, but
I had never I've
never heard of that. I mean, I've heard of it, but like,
but not
I don't
someone
really
that
understand
you, right,
that.
not someone maybe that was like, hey, watch out for this,
Yeah.
you know,
Right,
and not, I
right.
don't really think that they advise you to even watch out for it. I don't think it's very common,
Yeah.
but yeah, sure enough. Then they examine it too after, but there can be deformities and all that. So
Interesting.
yes, yeah. But
Okay. Wow. So your placenta came out, but then they did not realize that part of it was missing.
yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. So I had to have that. I had to be put under. Yeah.
Oh my Lanta.
Mm-hmm.
Did they cut you open or
No.
did they go in
Yeah.
vaginally?
Vaginally. Yeah.
So how
Frank
was
Griffith was able to do it, which made me feel really comfortable.
Okay.
I remember waking up from anesthesia being like, I just love you so much. I was like just laughing at it. But yeah. It was tough because I was an add-on to the next day. It was urgent. They had to take care of it right away.
Yeah.
Because
Obviously.
infection and everything.
Yeah.
And I had my mom is so great and so helpful for taking care of the girls. But Audrey is 7.5 weeks old at the time. Like we are constantly cluster feeding. We're constantly attached. And I got there, checked in at like 6 a.m. They had me in a little tiny waiting room on the surgical floor, and I had to fast, which is really hard
when you're breastfeeding.
And then because I was an add-on surgery, and this is nothing this is nothing to do with, like, I'm not dissing any part of it. I understand that things happen.
Yeah.
But they weren't able to fit me in until 7 p.m.
So you were there all
Derek left and brought pumped milk to my mom, which I should have, had I known, probably brought Audrey with me, but I just didn't.
You had no idea.
Because I thought that once I got there, it was going to be this 90-minute, not necessarily in and out, but I was going to be taken care of.
Resting and moving things on.
But yeah. And at one point they said, do you want to go home and come back another day? And I'm like, well, there's something like, I know. And this is really, because they were thankfully thinking about the well-being of my child, and which I appreciated, and I was too. But I also was a little nervous about my own health and not feeling very great. But I actually felt better. Like it was a noticeable feel better. Noted that I moved, and I instantly stopped bleeding. But I was like bleeding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How amazing that you were able to advocate for yourself and that you went with your gut instinct, because that is really hard to do, like you said, but to just go in and just know that we have to at least try.
Yeah. It's actually funny because I remember one of the sweet nurses, she was this older woman. She was a postpartum nurse. And I remember her coming in and talking to me saying, you know, Taylor, I want you to take care of yourself after this. And I remember her really, really like looking me in the eye saying how important it was for me to advocate for my own health after this, and just checking in and making sure I took the time to slow down enough to make sure I was okay. Yeah. And I still obviously haven't forgotten about it, but I was like, interesting, like why is she really focused on this? Which I appreciate so much, but I just replayed a lot in my head, and then sure enough
you needed it.
I needed it.
You needed it.
Yeah. So
oh my Lanta.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Is there seriously talk about this for days?
I know, same.
So I'm like,
I really could be here forever.
And my throw up basket was blue. Like I would literally say every single detail, and people are like, we just don't need to know.
I need it all.
Yeah.
I need it all.
No. I'm like, who delivered? What was your nurse's name? People are like, I don't really remember. I'm like, was it Katie? Like I'm trying so hard to remember every single piece, and obviously things are fleeting, but yeah,
it is amazing. I feel like right away you're like, I will never forget this. This is so wonderful. It was the most amazing experience of my life. And then 2 weeks later, I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. What? I'm like, I can remember the room number, but I can't remember, what is that? So crazy.
Yes.
It's just, yeah. So I'm just, again, so thankful for this experience, because it feels so natural to talk to you about it, and
so nice. You can clearly just see the joy in your eyes and on your face and how proud you are to be their mom.
I just felt so cool after going through those experiences. Like, I truly felt it's such a euphoric thing.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
so powerful, and everything is true about everything that everyone says.
It truly it is. And
the
it just
best.
all makes sense. Like, it all clicks
Yeah.
when you hold your baby.
Yeah. I know. It's the coolest thing in the world. And then all of a sudden that phrase is so hard for me too. You
Yeah.
blink and then they're running around and real little humans, and it's the coolest thing to watch them grow up.
Well, and now as they're getting older, having multiple years of memories pop up,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, I remember this 1 year ago, but 2 years ago, he was so tiny.
I know. I'm actually getting to the point too, which I never thought this would be a thing. Looking back at newborn pictures of the girls,
Yeah.
my grandma used to always write our
Right.
names, our
Who it is.
birthday, who it is on the
Yes.
back of the picture, and I kind of found out. I was like, that's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
that's clearly Caitlin, and this is clearly me. But now I'm getting to this point where I'm going through printed out pictures or all this
Yeah.
stuff, and the girls, they are definitely have their own features and little
Yeah.
looks to them.
Yeah.
But
Still so similar.
do I need to be writing these on the back? Which
Yeah.
it's honestly very special to have your handwriting on the back
Yeah,
of printed out
truly.
pictures.
Yeah.
Which is a whole nother I need to get better about is what do I do with all these pictures? There's 100,000 of them.
And thousands. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just crazy because I'm like, this is Annie, this is Audrey, but is it?
So I have one final question for you. What do you want your children to know?
Honestly, I feel as though if I would tell them this over and over again, but I have envisioned and dreamt of them for my whole life.
Yeah.
And they have exceeded every single expectation and completely blew every single dream of mine out of the water. They are the most amazing two little humans that I could ever wish for. And my journey to being their mom I'm so thankful for everything that has led me to being their mom, because it is my most pride and joy and my greatest gift. And I just love them so much.
I love that. Yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This was so
I'm
fun.
so honored.
I love birth stories.
Now I want to
Do you want to be here for another hour and a half?
So tell me.
Yeah. We'll skip that time and just sit here and talk about birth stories.
The witching hour.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to deal with that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.